And action. We're live here, and surprise, we're on the set of my boyfriend's brand new music video. Jordan! What are you doing?
Okay, let's not freak out.
What did you do this to me? We're over, okay? Touch it! What? You're still alive. Oh, shit.
All right. Hello, Blanca. Welcome back.
Hi.
Brought you back for a very special reason because we are reviewing that new movie. It's been out for a week now called He's All That. I was going back and forth on whether or not I wanted to do a review on this. And then I finally watched the movie and we started talking about it. And you're like, I got to watch it now too. And so you and I just started to go back and forth while we were watching it about how this movie is a big cringy movie, which that's probably the best word to describe it, is cringy. But I think I have a few reasons. I think I figured out why it became so cringy and why it's not that good.
Okay.
But for those who don't know, He's All That is the remake of the 1999 film from She's All That, starring Freddie Prinze Jr. and Rachael Leigh Cook and Matthew Lillard, who also shows up in this new remake, which I'm surprised they got to show up.
I don't think his standards are too high. I love him, but I don't think that was, a hard get.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, they're probably super excited about it though, because it's Matthew Lillard. But
how could you not be?
I don't know. This movie should have been so much better, and it could have been so much better because of the premise and the bones that the original had. And I don't know what. Okay, well, let's get some early thoughts that you had about the movie. You didn't like it, right?
So yeah. And it's a very complicated answer. I want you to know that I have notes. Like I
nice. Yes, me too.
That's how bad it is because I have so many conflicting
I have half
thoughts.
a page of notes.
Oh, that's a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what mine translates to in regular size, but it's a lot. So here's the thing. Off the top, like from the beginning, the second I heard that this was happening, I was like, oh, another reboot, right? Which is like, it's a thing, there's so many reboots, they all end up sucking, okay? But then, so there was the reboot news and that sucked. Yeah. And then we got, Addison Rae is going to be
the first
Leigh.
Official casting, yeah.
So as if I needed another reason to have a problem with this movie, they gave me one. And then, there's also like the stuff where like they shut down a COVID testing site for them to be able to film like a 10-minute scene and 5-minute scene. Like it's just, so there's a lot, right?
Yeah,
and
I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
Of my head, I was like, I remember saying, I'm not going to watch this. And if I do watch it,
it
for
won't
legal
be...
purposes, I'm not going to be watching it on Netflix.
Or giving them the numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't want them to get the numbers and be like, oh, well, we need to keep making movies like this because look at the turnout. I refused to contribute.
Yeah.
And then you started telling me what kind of a train wreck it was. And then you started like not telling me that it was awful. And that's when I got concerned because I was like, oh, no. Number one, Elijah needs help. Number two, okay, maybe I should watch this.
Yeah.
And I did. It was like 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Very
I was
late.
like, you're starting it now? And you did.
Yeah, why not? And so I'm a night owl, so that was fine. No problems there. But let me tell you something. I'm very conflicted as to what my thoughts are on this because part of me looks at this movie and goes, oh, this is everything I hate. This is like from the casting to there is like tropes on tropes on tropes in this movie. And it's just very, it was disappointing. But at the same time, as a person who loves a bad movie.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say
and
like
Mrs. Rom-coms.
Notorious. Yeah.
Yes. I miss rom-coms and I love that whole thing. It made me very nostalgic for this kind of movie. And so now I'm just like, I have adjustments is what I have.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I don't mind the idea. I just think the execution could be better. And that's what all my notes are on. So that is my very long-winded first thought.
I agree with that exactly because the moments that I liked, I was like, okay, well, that moment stood out to me. Like there was some but you kept saying like, I can't wait to hear which ones those are, but I can't think of them off the top of my head because the
Oh
movie
my God.
kind
So
of
what
goes
did you
under
take
the.
notes for?
I like well, I took some note. I don't know. I like the main actor, the kid, Tanner. I
Okay.
found out he's in a show called Cobra Kai, which I don't watch, but he
That
was a
seems
pretty
so
good
up your
actor.
alley. I'm surprised.
Yeah, but that's because I've never seen the Karate Kid or any of those movies yet. So I
Really?
mean,
That
I'm
also seems very up your alley. I'm very surprised.
yeah, I think it's like an 80s movie or something, but yeah, there's a lot of movies I haven't seen that I'm apparently supposed to see, but
And
I
yet
like
he
that
has a movie
actor.
podcast.
I know. Well,
Love that
yeah,
for you.
yeah. It's one of those things
Mhm.
where I'm excited to see those movies now that I'm older and I can appreciate them and not watch them as a kid and be like, yeah, I've always known about that movie, you know. But I don't know.
I
There's
feel
some
that.
movies that went that way. But I recently watched in like the last 2 years. I think I watched She's All That for the first time, and I really enjoyed it because of how 90s it is, even though it's like late 90s. But the bones of that movie are good, and the premise and everything, and like seeing Paul Walker and stuff is very good. And I found out that the writer of this movie is the same exact writer as that one. And
Oh,
I was like wondering why they decided to do that because his writing does not translate to modern day, especially with the same story.
that explains a lot.
His name's Robert, I think Robert, no, R. Lee Fleming. And he it seemed like he didn't know how to write the voices of a younger generation because that is not his generation at all. So I don't like that they brought this guy back for it. They probably thought it was a good idea because he wrote the original, but he
Yeah.
hasn't done that much at all
Well, do
since
you know
then.
what that explains a lot? Because what it felt like was an older person was explaining young things. And
Mhm.
like from the like little selfie moments and the duck face, like it feels like something that your uncle might think that you do as a young
Yeah.
person, but
Yeah,
that
they
you
should have
don't
hired someone
actually
else.
do. Like it was
Yes.
very much through that lens. And so that explains a lot because that's one of the things that I felt was so cringy was like, why aren't they doing actual like young people things? It's like a version of that story being told and it didn't feel genuine.
Is very boring in that way. And there's nothing that really stands out to it. And that's why I think they just chose the wrong people. They just chose all the wrong people.
What I did pay attention to was like the very clear product placement.
Yeah,
And
I
then I
noticed that
also
too.
paid a lot of attention to continuity issues or like little errors here and there. Like there's a part where she's handing out flyers and
Yeah.
she's like handing out flyers and she's literally doing this. She's just
Yeah.
miming because
Shows her
even
that
though
there's
she
nothing in
has
her
the
hand.
flyers, yeah, she just didn't. So those little errors are what I picked up on.
Yeah, there's a lot
And
of weird moments like that.
costumes
Mhm.
I had a big problem with. Wardrobe.
They try to make it memorable by making it super out there, but it's not really how people really dress.
My main issue with the way they dressed her is they made her look like she was a youth pastor's wife. Like they made her look, and Addison Rae, for being an influencer, which is the reason that she was cast, you know, because she has this big following and whatnot. They didn't let her be a lot of herself in this movie, which was shocking to me because they had her dance and they had her sing, which is very much like they, you know, they brought out her talent, and I'm using that word very generously and loosely.
Mhm.
You know, they let her do that. They let her play with that. But they didn't let her express herself in the sense of like, have you seen what she wears? Like the girl is a popular girl in real life, like in the high school of the world. She is. She has like a bajillion followers and she's doing her thing and she's
Yeah, she's
making
got
money.
more subscribers than HBO Max.
She could wear, oh, that's
Yeah,
disappointing.
that's wild.
Ooh, wow. But what I was going to say is she dresses in whatever the hell she wants. And she looks cool because she says it's cool. So it
Mhm.
doesn't matter that it is the trend or that it's not the trend. And I wish that they had let her be herself a little bit more in this and not try to make her into the girl next door. Like, I wear little pink outfits and this is my pink bedroom. Like, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of girl. And so I just wish that they had given us like a more authentic teenage thing. And they did it for the boys in the movie, like not to
Yeah.
make this like a,
Well, it's written by an older man, so he has probably more connection to that. That's a big part of it. Is the wrong writer. They had the wrong writer. Netflix doesn't read into things though. They just hire people and let them go. And it's like,
I know.
so
And
that's a big factor too.
they're worried about content. And ultimately they got what they wanted because
Mhm.
here I am watching the movie because they think it's going to be a train wreck, but nonetheless, I'm watching the movie
Exactly.
and they're getting their numbers. So why can't we just have a little bit more like originality, especially because they go to school in LA?
Yeah. And to like today's era is a lot different than what he depicted. Like
Exactly.
yeah, this whole movie is basically a missed opportunity because they brought back 2 original characters from the original as well. Like they could have had Rachael Leigh Cook and they could have had Matthew Lillard return as those characters, and they just decided not to. I wonder if there was a draft where it was her and they just couldn't bring Freddie Prinze Jr. back. And they're like, well, we can't have a happy ending for them if Freddie Prinze Jr. is not in it.
But they don't. But see, that is such a small-minded way to think, and I get where you're coming with that. But why do they have to have a happy ending? Why couldn't they have like a toxic marriage and then she is now split up and she's her mother and that's fine? You know what I mean?
Don't know.
Or Matthew Lillard is like, you know, the drama teacher at the school and he's failed his career as a reality TV star and actor and whatever, and now he is teaching at this school and he's like, oh,
exactly.
like
They could have gone in that direction.
There's so many things that you could have done with it. Like, why?
Yeah. It's upsetting in that way, but there's not much of a but. I try to see the best of it because it is a remake of a really good movie. So that's why there are moments that I wanted to hold on to and be like, well, they worked that part out.
Elijah, I'm so sorry. You're biased.
A little biased. That's because the original needs to be protected.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. We need to tell the audience what you told me.
Oh, I told Blanca that I have a crush on Addison Rae and that I'm not completely proud of it. It's just one of those things. And so that was a big factor of why she was like, all right, I need to be the real eyes to this movie because my eyes were clouded.
Looking at it because you're like, you're gonna blow smoke up this girl's ass. Like she was over here doing her cringy TikTok dances and you were like, well, like this movie's endearing. And I'm like, are we watching the same movie?
Yeah, I can see the fault. And I told you that Addison Rae is like is the weakest link. I said she's the weakest link of the movie, but I'm adding the writer and director to that too, because they just made all the wrong choices in casting people. The only good casting was like the main guy from Cobra Kai. And I guess Rachael Leigh Cook, she did fine. She played the mom as she should have. And Matthew Lillard's character was good. He was funny. He was really meta, saying, like, I just want to get this over with. Matthew Lillard made it worth getting to the end of the movie because there's a scene that he talks to the DJ. He's like, we paid you $45,000 and all you have is a phone. And he was like, yeah, that's how I DJ. And I think that every scene that he was in was really funny.
But see, this is another example of older people shitting on younger people. But yes, like
that's what
the
it was.
writing,
Exactly.
Like, but at least it was funny. That one I could get through. That was a good joke. I laughed at that, honestly.
Yeah, I would probably, I can't really save this movie with anything because it's not really salvageable. It's not a good movie. It's just not. And it's not the worst movie though. That's something that I'll always stand by because I've seen a lot of worse movies that are supposed to be like all the rage, but there's something about this movie that it didn't capture the age range it's supposed to be. Like it seemed like it was a mixture between PG and PG-13 and they couldn't decide which way they wanted to go. And at times they lean toward PG-13, like when they bring out the classic line of like, when they bring the line that was in the original movie is I'm a bet, like that's it. They should have leaned more into being an older crowd, I feel like, because 90s movies back then, like romantic comedies and stuff, like just any teen comedy from the 90s were way more adult than they are now. And I don't know why that is.
Yeah. Well, because they were casting 30-year-olds to play teenagers. That would be why. All off the bat was very adult. Like how old was Paul Walker when he did that? And how old was Freddie Prinze Jr.? I know Gabrielle
probably like 25 or 26. Probably like 25.
So there's no way.
I just miss those 90s movies. Like you said, I think you messaged me saying I miss those mindless rom-coms where you don't you're not overthinking the situations. And
you can just watch it and escape, which this is my ending statement for the movie review itself.
Yes.
I came into this wanting to hate it. And the reason I don't hate it is because I go back to, I don't know if you've ever, like on the Universal Studios tour, they talk about how Carl Laemmle, his whole thing was he wanted to make people laugh and cry and, you know, blah, blah. And that's like the age old quote about like,
Right.
you know, movies are supposed to make you laugh or cry or feel something. And this movie, you know, and that's what movies are, they're an escape. And this movie did like help me escape to where I'm not thinking about like, I have to pay my credit card bill or like I have to do this or like whatever. I'm just like, oh, this is a stupid movie and I can just watch it and be done with it. And that's like, I don't have to think too hard about anything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm watching like The Pursuit of Happiness, even though it's a great movie, I'm over here worrying about my finances and like feeling really sad because homelessness and like you know, childcare and like I don't know. And the system and like, so it's like, this is what movies are. This is what they're meant to be. And so I cannot be mad despite the fact that it's so cringy and so awful.
We can be disappointed. And I think that's what we are. I would probably only give this out of 5. I would have to give this movie like a 1.5. It's pretty low.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm not
fully want to recommend it to people.
Yeah.
I don't want to recommend it to people unless it's like, I was talking to another person about it and I was like, I mean, there's probably at least 1 or 2 moments you'll like, and then they're like, oh, okay, I'll just put it on then. But 1 or 2 moments is not enough for an entire movie, I feel like. So
if you're looking for something to watch,
just plop it on.
Yeah. Like you'll be watching something.
You'll take something away from it one way or another.
You're not gonna come out of it feeling better or worse. You are just going to exist. But yeah, I will say the movie did make me feel really old.
It made me feel old too. I was like, wow. Yeah.
Because like I genuinely after that I was like, oh, I relate more to Matthew Lillard and
exactly. Yeah.
And I'm only 24, so like let's do the math. Like,
exactly. They couldn't decide what age group they needed to connect with, and it goes all over the place. So there's our review of that. But if you're interested in more of this type of talk and reviews and even just movie news, or Blanca, if you like seeing Blanca, she comes on the show all the time. Subscribe on YouTube and stuff, and listen to us on Spotify and Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts. That's where we are.
Just thank you for giving me a platform on which to roast you. I hope that
every week, every time you're on, I learn something new.
As you should. I hope that the people are thoroughly entertained. I hope it wasn't too harsh.
No, not yet. Not yet. We'll keep asking you back. Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I learned about this movie, though, of He's All That, is it made me want to cut my hair, which I still haven't done. But it made me
when
really
are we
want
doing
to.
that? Do you know every time I come on here we discuss your hair like
every time I get closer,
and I feel like it's time
cutting it.
Is it time yet?
No, it's almost there. It's getting really long, and it is. But I made it through the summer, so I don't have to worry about the heat as much. Yeah, might as well. The home stretch.
We'll
couple
see where
more
it
months.
goes now.
I'll cut it on my birthday. It's in February, March.
Almost. Oh my God, you're
late February.
Wait till February.
That's a long time, isn't it? Okay, I'll see how it goes. It hasn't been down in like a long time.
Like in the kindest way, let's reevaluate our life. Let's not wait till February.
Maybe Christmas time or Thanksgiving. Oh, maybe Thanksgiving.
Oh my God.
It's not too long. It's just like, what,
I was thinking
3 months?
when you said it made me want to cut my hair. I'm thinking like a week or
Tomorrow.
2. He's waiting for an appointment. Like, yeah.
It did. It kind of did, but
not enough.
We'll see.
Addison Rae is waiting for you, and all she needs is for you to cut your hair.
If she told me to cut my hair, I would cut my hair. Yes. That's a thing.
Addison, if you're listening, please message our boy Elijah.
Yeah, tell me what I need to do and I'll do it.
We beg of you, Addison.
Cool. Yeah, I guess I'll end this session now, and I will talk to you on the next one, Blanca.
Yes.
Cool.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.